So, I want to talk about two clips that were sent to me. One featured a woman named Gigi, who, to my understanding, is the girlfriend of a famous streamer named Kai Sanat. And the other is a clip of some random man that went viral on TikTok. So, let's start with the Gigi clip and I'll come back with my commentary.
What's your type?
Shit. Like, look-wise or like what?
Yeah.
Look-wise? Normally, I like just brown-skinned and dark-skinned girls for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you like dark skin girls?
Yeah, hell yeah. Nah, I'm always with like dark-skinned girls. I just learned that about myself. But, nah, what's your
People
type?
don't normally
You with dark-skinned girls, right?
I mean they do.
Nah, my niggas don't like dark-skinned girls. Like, some niggas I hang around, they don't like them. I got cousins that don't like black girls at all. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
But no, like, some people like, they like dark skin girls, but like they prefer like, a lighter skin girl.
Yeah, nah, please. So who would you consider yourself?
Brown.
Brown skin? Anyways.
So, Black women on TikTok were really outraged by this, and they were mad at Gigi for being shocked that this young man preferred brown and dark-skinned women, which I understand why, because this is what some light-skinned women will do to compete with dark-skinned women, which I'll talk more about in a minute. But ladies, you have to understand that Gigi is only repeating what she heard from Black men, whether it be Black men in her personal life or Black men in the mainstream media or on social media. And if you listen to what the young man that she was talking to said, he also acknowledged that many Black men don't prefer brown and dark-skinned women, and some of his friends don't even date Black women at all. But since a lot of dark-skinned women are still heavily invested in what Black men prefer, and they were embarrassed that a lighter-skinned woman repeated what Black men have told her and what they've been telling the world for several decades now, dark-skinned women went into denial mode. And they tried to make it seem like Gigi pulled this out of thin air. And there were even some dark-skinned women who went as far as trying to protect Kai from Gigi because now they think she's colorist. Which, let's just be real, Kai likely chose Gigi in part because she's lighter skinned. And so this is just another example of dark-skinned women operating against their best interest. You are protecting a Black man that does not need or deserve your protection. And he might be colorist himself, and you're online denying that a critical mass of Black men are colorist after many of them have said publicly for the last several decades that they prefer light-skinned women. And before all of the pick-me's flood my comment section, no, I am not saying that there are no dark-skinned women on the planet who can attract men. There are plenty of dark-skinned women who attract men of all races, men who are high earning. And if you are individually capable of attracting Black men who are not colorist, and you have all these non-colorist, high earning Black men just worshiping you and trying to get at you, that's great. But this video is not just about you. It's about the fact that these men do not exist in large numbers. And for the delusional Black women who always say, oh, well, why do y'all just pay attention to the dusties who are colorist? Why don't you focus on the men who like you? Newsflash, most Black men are dusty, okay? And if you think it's only the broke and low-earning Black men that are colorist, you are delusional. No smart Black woman is about to sit around and wait on and or defend a minority of Black men who genuinely like dark-skinned women, especially considering that the majority of Black men are dusty no matter who they like. The smart Black women aren't focused on who any Black men like. Colorist or not, we have moved on. Or at the very least, we've opened our dating options to include non-Black men. The only reason I'm doing this video is to convince other dark-skinned women to move the hell on and stop embarrassing yourselves on the internet, defending men who collectively don't like you. And stop trying to gaslight other dark-skinned women who tell the truth because you're still sensitive about how most Black men feel about Black women, or because you're embarrassed about being settled for and being baby mamas or wives to low-earning colorist Black men. Because we all know that's what most of y'all are getting, and the exceptions don't make the rule. So I believe you. You are attracting Black men. But the stats tell us exactly what kind of men those are. And that brings me to the next clip.
I'm not going to say I date ugly women because I don't, but like, I stay away from my type. Because my type has me spending money that I don't have, skipping work that I need to be doing, mentally going through all the fucking loops. And I don't want to go through no more circuses. I don't want to chase nobody. I only want what wants me. So I'm not going after my type. And my type is the traditional bad bitch. And I think that's everybody's type. But the bad bitch has a worse personality. My type, all you gotta do is be light skin, curly hair, and a nice body and a pretty face, and boom, here's my wallet. Here it all. Oh, you need your nails done? Don't worry, I got it. And nigga, I don't got it. I really don't got it. So that shit is like detrimental to my life. So I stay away from them.
So this man is saying basically what I've already stated many times on my channel over the years, that broke men, and especially broke black men, settle for women who aren't really their type because they can't afford to get the women that they really want. And this man didn't explicitly say that he dates dark-skinned women instead of his true type who are light-skinned women, but there are a lot of black men who do that and will even have babies with dark-skinned women that they aren't strongly attracted to. Then if or when they get a little bit of money, they move on to the women that they really want, which are usually light-skinned or non-black women. We've seen this with several celebrity black men. Mike Epps even made a joke about his first baby mama being ugly and looking like James Brown. He admitted that he only got with her because he was broke. And, he framed it as a quote-unquote joke, but we know there's a lot of truth in comedy, right? And even black men who aren't famous have made memes about how their first baby mamas were ugly. And the women in those memes are usually dark-skinned and brown-skinned women. So there are many men who are just like the man in this clip, who are out here settling for women, and especially dark-skinned women, that they aren't strongly attracted to because they just don't have enough money to get the women that they truly want. This is just what broke and low-earning men do. And this is why I've been saying for years that dark-skinned women especially should only deal with established men who have money, because if they choose you, you know that you're more likely to be their genuine preference. But when dark-skinned women get online and brag about attracting black men, the man in the second clip is usually the type of black men that y'all are getting. We see anecdotal evidence of this, and we also see it in the statistics. We see in the numbers that most are breadwinners in their marriages and in their relationships. The stats say that black men marry light-skinned women first. We see the single motherhood rate. We see the DV and the femicide rate. And most black women in the black community are brown and dark skinned. So it's y'all who are experiencing this the most. So yeah, you are attracting black men despite being dark skinned, but most of you are in trash relationships and you're with trash men. And the exceptions don't make the rule. And being chosen by a black man only tells part of the story. And let's just be honest, being chosen by a black man in 2025 especially is not a flex. Not after everything the BWE space has exposed about black men. Black men are literally the poorest, most unproductive men on the planet. Most of them are just like the Dusty in the second clip. They have nothing to offer to any woman, no matter the race or skin tone. So trying to prove how much you get picked by them, it just makes you look crazy and just as dusty as they are. And think about it, when is the last time you heard a bunch of black men online bragging to other men about how many dark-skinned baddies they can pull? Or talking about all the dark-skinned baddies that they can't control themselves around and they just can't stop spending money on, like the dude said in the second clip. This is why dark-skinned women look stupid when you deny that black men are colorists and you brag about getting picked by them. As a group, black men don't have a fraction of that energy for you. And whenever a black woman like me tells y'all that, or tries to help you avoid being the come-up woman, or the woman that these colorist men settle for, y'all always accuse us of saying that no man on the planet likes dark-skinned women, when that's not at all what we're saying. And to be honest, I think that any dark-skinned woman who automatically jumps to that conclusion are actually the dark-skinned women who are the most insecure and have the lowest self-esteem. Because there have been plenty of attractive dark-skinned women who get a lot of attention from men that still acknowledge that there are a critical mass of black men who are colorist. It is what it is. And ladies, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, especially if you are a black woman who's still obsessed with the idea of black love. So you just can't accept that most black men are colorist. But at this point, it's willful ignorance if you are a dark-skinned woman who still believes it's not a critical mass of black men who are out here like this. So since it's well known that we are dealing with a collective of men who have consistently attacked black women, especially dark-skinned women, far more than they have uplifted us. And the ones who don't attack us haven't really done much for us and our image. They haven't really tried to correct that. Because that is going on, it is not in your best interest to try and protect them. and especially not from colorist light-skinned women. And it's not in your best interest to minimize their colorism either. Just like you're not willing to minimize the white man's racism, the same energy should be applied to Black men and their colorism. And y'all need to understand that when someone says most Black men or men in general are colorist, it's similar to how we say that most white people are racist. We're not saying that all white people are racist. We're not saying that all men are colorist and that none of you will ever get attention from men. We're simply highlighting that most of them have a preference for lighter skin. Not all, but a critical mass. The truth is that colorism is just as pervasive as racism. So being delusional about it to make yourself feel better or make yourself look better than other women, it does not do you any favors. Your best bet as a Black woman, and especially a dark-skinned woman, is to accept the world the way it is, accept that men are who they are, and if you're still interested in dating them, keep your options open to all races of men. So you can make your pool as wide as possible so you have access to all races of men who are not colorist, who are not racist, who are not texturist, etc. Being delusional about men's preferences and colorism is just as bad as being delusional about racism, in my opinion. And being delusional about colorist Black men especially, ladies, that's not going to change the reality, and it certainly won't change Black men. And if you believe what that young man said to Gigi about his preference being dark-skinned and brown-skinned women, then you should also believe what he said about other Black men. He's around them way more than you are, ladies. He's around them when you aren't in the room. So I'm sure he knows their true preferences way more than you do. And the fact that y'all just ignored what he said about his Black male peers and made it seem like Gigi was wrong for being shocked is exactly how y'all end up dating and having babies with men like the one in the second clip, who really don't prefer you, but just settled for you because they couldn't get or afford the light skin preference that they wanted. This is exactly how y'all become the come-up women. This is how y'all become placeholders for Black men. And that's why I personally love when clips like this go viral, because they reveal a lot and they prove so many of the points I've made over the years. And Black women, you need to learn how to be quiet and listen. And also read between the lines. Listen to what's not being said. Listen instead of just reacting. Let these men talk. You need to know who's who. And again, I totally get the embarrassment that many of you have behind most Black men not preferring women who look like them, especially when most other groups prefer and put their women on a pedestal while Black men are doing the exact opposite. That can be very embarrassing, especially as a Black woman who is pro-Black and limits her dating options to Black men only. When you limit yourself to one group of men, of course you're going to inflate the number of non-colorist Black men to make the pool seem larger than it is. Of course you're going to be delusional. It's a coping mechanism. And part of the way y'all cope is gaslighting and insulting women who tell you the truth, no matter what color they are. Because y'all be dragging me too, just like you drag Gigi. But ladies, when you open your options, when you accept who Black men are, I promise you this will no longer matter. Take it from a reformed pro-Black pick-me. It is so much better on the other side. Once you get over this false hope and faith in the Black community, you really just become indifferent to this kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, ladies, it is so freeing to be in this space. And I'm doing this video because I want dark-skinned women to get to a place where we can see these kind of clips and just feel indifferent to them, because we understand that we're not really losing anything. Black men have not done enough for us, for the collective of dark-skinned women, or the Black community in general as men, for us to care about what they do and do not prefer. This is how dark-skinned women should be thinking, especially in 2025. And I want Black women in general to get to a place where we're no longer invested in who Black men prefer, because we've moved on. But y'all being delusional about who most Black men are and going around on the internet gaslighting other Black women who aren't delusional like you is not helping any of us. Because the man Gigi was talking to and the man in the second clip pretty much said the same thing, and y'all act like women are crazy when we say it. That is denial, ladies. That's what being in denial looks like. There have even been matchmakers who say that Black men request to be matched with non-Black women and light-skinned women, so nobody is lying on them. It's like everyone in the room knows who most Black men are but Black women, and it's embarrassing. And something else I think is important to point out, neither one of these men said that they or other Black men prefer light-skinned women because of dark-skinned women's attitude or their weight. One simply said that he prefers brown and dark-skinned women, and the other said he preferred light-skinned. And I highlight that because we often hear colorists and Black men and their pick-me's, we often hear them say, oh, it's not your skin, dark-skinned women. It's your level of attractiveness. It's your attitude. It's your weight. It's because you're ugly. But when these men say what they like or don't like physically, they don't highlight any of that other stuff. They simply say they prefer light skin or dark skin. So that is how you know that color alone is a primary factor when they choose women. And all that other stuff, whether it be attitude, attractiveness, weight, kids out of wedlock, etc., is secondary. So dark-skinned women, stop letting these men lie to you. To most Black men especially, skin color, hair texture, then body type are their top 3 when it comes to deciding or identifying their physical preference in women. That's why the guy in the second clip said he wanted a light skin, curly hair, thick baddie. Skin tone, hair type, body type. And ladies, remember that when it comes to high earning men, which, neither one of these men appear to be high earning, but when it comes to high earning men, body type is typically most important for them. Broke men, they'll be a little bit more lenient on that because, again, many times they can't afford the super attractive, fit woman. It's not to say that they still don't like women who are at an average weight or women who are not, fat or obese, but they'll put up with them because they can't afford what they feel is better than that. And in general, those 3 things, skin tone, hair, and body type, that is what gets women in the door. Level of attractiveness, personality, and attitude comes second to all of that, especially for Black men. And anybody who tells you that isn't true for most men is lying. I'm not saying that beauty isn't important to these men at all. I'm not saying that there are dark-skinned women who can, jump in the front of the line just because they're very pretty. But what I'm saying is that still often doesn't change a man's preference for a certain skin tone. It's kind of like short men when it comes to women. Money might make a woman settle for a short man, but that doesn't mean she doesn't prefer tall men. I'm just giving y'all the game because I feel like nobody else is really telling y'all the truth. And I also want to remind Black women, don't just go off of what men say, and especially Black men. Go by their actions. You know you're a man's physical preference by the way he treats you. Because like the man in the second clip said, men who are strongly attracted to you physically, they will spend on you. They'll be on a date with you looking like that heart eye emoji. They'll be fumbling and stuttering and all nervous and shit. You can tell when a man is strongly attracted to you. You can also tell a man's type in a woman by looking at his dating history and also the type of women he likes on social media. And if you can find his fantasy folder of women either on his phone or his laptop, that will also point to his true preference. Go look at what all those women have in common, and that will tell you in general what he likes. You can also go look at all the models and the Instagram baddies that he follows on social media. That will also point to what his true preference is. And for the people who are going to come back and be like, oh, why does that matter? That's too much. That's doing too much. You shouldn't have to do all that. It matters to dark-skinned women. And anyone who tries to shame dark-skinned women out of not doing these things, not vetting men in this way, that usually means that they want us to keep settling for men who have a lukewarm attraction to us or who don't really want us like that or who are settling for us. And also, if a man has a variety of women that he follows or a variety of women in his dating history, that could just mean he likes a variety of attractive women. And personally, I tend to like men like that because the people I've dated all look different. And I tend to gravitate towards men who are like that as well because they're usually not hung up on skin color. They just like attractive women. But the point here is don't just go off of what men say they like because they can say anything. And I don't know if the young man in the clip with Gigi was being honest about his preference or not. I'm not familiar with him, but I'm just saying go by their history, go by their behavior and their actions, not just their words. And this is also if you even care about being a man's type, because listen, I know that not everybody is going to get their dream person or their fantasy woman or their fantasy man. And some people just don't care and they get with people for other reasons. There are couples where neither one of them is really each other's type and they're okay with that. So it just depends on what you want. But just remember that you don't want to be too far off from a man's type because that does impact the way he treats you. You don't have to look exactly like his fantasy woman, but you should have a similar quality, similar features, and you shouldn't be too far off. That's all I'm saying. And also, if men say they like dark-skinned women or like Black women or they wife a Black woman or a dark-skinned woman, ladies, there's no need to clap for them or praise them for choosing a Black woman. And you also don't have to object to it either. And I say it's best not to praise them for dating or marrying a Black woman or preferring a Black woman or a dark-skinned woman because it does look desperate. And you also don't know what's going to happen with them in the future. And this is true for all relationships, but especially Black love relationships, because the failure rate is higher than most. So you don't really know what's going to happen. Normani and her fiance come to mind when I say this. I'm happy Normani is happy, and I don't wish anything bad on her relationship. But ladies, give it some time before you start romanticizing their relationship. That's all I'm saying. Because you don't know how it's going to turn out. And we've seen time and time again how these relationships, with some of these men don't work out. They end up cheating. They end up being colorist. They end up being a piece of shit. They end up going on podcasts like Simone Biles' husband talking about how she bagged him and how he's the prize and how he really went into her like that. So yeah, be careful of romanticizing these relationships. And this goes for all relationships involving Black women, Black or interracial. And I'm saying that as someone who also used to celebrate, when dark-skinned women got with certain men. I've learned to stop doing that because it can come back to bite you in the ass. So that's just another thing you want to keep in mind. Now, when it comes to Gigi and lighter-skinned women who are shocked when Black men like dark-skinned women, I told y'all years ago that I had a very similar experience with a light-skinned woman who thought I was trying to get with her man. She saw him flirting with me and she was blown away because I'm dark-skinned. And she made it a point to tell me over and over again that he only liked light-skinned girls and he didn't like dark-skinned girls. And that wasn't the only time that something similar happened to me. And when I told that story years ago, so many people were outraged and accused me of lying. But as you can see, it happens. And I also remember a while back when a biracial YouTuber, I can't remember her name, but if I find a screenshot, I'll put it in the video. But she was reacting to her boyfriend doing one of those smash or pass videos. And she was surprised that he said smash on a dark-skinned woman because she said he doesn't like dark-skinned women. And mind you, he just said he wanted to smash the woman. He didn't say he wanted to wife her or be serious with her at all. But that was enough to surprise his light-skinned girlfriend. So this does happen. Dark-skinned women are not making this up. There are lighter-skinned women out there who are shocked when men choose dark-skinned women to be with, or voice their preference for dark-skinned women, or even choose to sleep with a dark-skinned woman, or cheat on them with a dark-skinned woman, which is crazy because men will cheat on a woman with anybody. But, again, these women are just going off of what Black men are telling them. And some of y'all were saying that Gigi wasn't being shady or malicious, and maybe she wasn't, but because many dark-skinned women have experienced lighter-skinned women who become very rude and competitive when men prefer us, because many of them often compete with dark-skinned women for men, and they feel they should be the only ones getting attention, I can definitely see how some dark-skinned women read her response as being shady. And look, I know y'all don't like when dark-skinned women call out the cattiness and the competitiveness coming from some light-skinned women, but they are not above reproach, especially not on this channel, and they never will be. If I can come on here and criticize everybody else, including other dark-skinned women, light-skinned women will never be exempt. And being competitive and male-identified and all of the other things that everybody says is just exclusive to dark-skinned women, that applies to light-skinned women too. They too care about outside validation. They care about what other people think just as much as dark-skinned women. They're just as competitive. They love attention just like dark-skinned women from men and everyone else. And it's not a crime to say that. And the same goes for non-Black women and white women. We just saw that OFS worker that went viral for being surprised that Tory Craig dated Megan Thee Stallion. Again, going by what Black men have told her. So there are light-skinned women who act the same way when men prefer dark-skinned women. Even though they get the same poor treatment, many of these, preferences, most of them still like being preferred, ladies. Don't let them lie to you. And this situation proves that it's not just dark-skinned women who care about men's preferences. There were no dark-skinned women in the room during this conversation between Gigi and this young man. So Gigi, a lighter-skinned woman, clearly cares about Black men's preferences too, because she is the one who asked this man what kind of women he liked. And then when he asked her where she placed herself, she said she was brown-skinned, and that was likely to fit in to what he said his preference in women was. And I did see where Gigi responded and she said that, she identifies as brown skin. And I looked at some of her pictures and I saw that she was light brown in some of them. But, I do still consider her on the light skin spectrum. I could see where she would be considered light brown in some places. But either way, I do think that in this particular conversation that she was having with this young man, I think she was trying to appeal to his preference. So based on the talking points that we hear online, Gigi is male identified and she's a pick-me just like many dark-skinned women, which we already knew. It's not just dark-skinned women who are pick-me's and male identified anyway. That's just a silencing tactic that people use on us when we discuss colorism. But, that doesn't work over here. We're going to tell the truth. But, outside of Gigi, I keep telling dark-skinned women that light-skinned women's pedestal in the Black community, it is literally dependent upon unambiguous dark-skinned women, and them getting more attention than us feeds their ego. This is why anytime I tell you to put your own phenotype on a pedestal instead of theirs, or when I tell you to open your options to non-Black men and stop focusing so much on colorist Black men, this is why some of them rage out, because their self-esteem is built on that validation, and they need us there to feel special. They won't tell you that, but that is why many of them hate my platform. This is why they're trying to neutralize dark-skinned women and guilt us out of competing while they continue to compete with us. And when I say compete, ladies, I'm not talking about competing for men, and especially not Black men, even though they're doing that too. But that's not the only thing I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about, the women who are befuddled when men choose us, but I'm talking about when they compete for visibility in any capacity. That means in the mainstream media and online spaces. That's why so many of them attack me. They're competing with me for online visibility, subscribers, views, and at the same time, they're shaming dark-skinned women for competing, and they're manipulating y'all out of competing. And the dark-skinned Black women who are dumb and naive and gullible and insecure, you fall for that. But, we don't fall for that over here. But this is why I'm a huge target, and they're trying to bully me off with all of these lies and these smear campaigns. This is why they always twist my words and exaggerate things I say in my videos, because lying is the only way they can kind of get back some of that visibility. That's the only way they feel they can win. And I'm using YouTube as an example because what's happening here is a microcosm of what's happening in larger society. And there are a lot of light-skinned women who do not want to see dark-skinned women center ourselves because it would mean less visibility for them. Not all of them think this way, and many are very kind to dark-skinned women and want us all to win. But we have to be realistic, y'all. I just have to keep it 100 with y'all. Who would want to give up a bunch of dark-skinned women, a bunch of insecure dark-skinned women, and just people in general fawning over you and giving you views and likes and validation and money and sponsorships and endorsements and movie roles, primarily because you're light-skinned? Who would want to give that up? And so I don't care how many light-skinned women besties y'all got. Most of them don't want to give that up, ladies. I'm just keeping it real with you, and you need to realize that. Most people in the world would not want to give that up. Nobody wants to give up their privilege, no matter how small it is. So since I teach dark-skinned women to center ourselves and prop up our own image, light-skinned women feel like it's a threat to their privilege, or at least the little perks they get in the Black community. If they didn't feel that way, they wouldn't be so obsessed with me and trying so hard to silence me, which will never work, by the way. I mean, I've been on here for 10 years. It's just not going to work. And for those of you who are going to say, oh, well, what about your light-skinned daughters that you have with white men? What about them? Okay, and light-skinned women have dark-skinned daughters with Black men all the time. They still take advantage of their privilege over dark-skinned women. So that's another thing that's just not going to work over here. We keep the same energy. It don't matter who we birth, okay? But if there's a platform claiming to be beneficial to unambiguous dark-skinned women and it doesn't threaten the status quo and make people fear losing their privilege, it's probably not a platform that actually benefits dark-skinned women. Because us putting ourselves and our image first, by default, means that some of the privilege and some of the pedestal is gone for any group of people that we put over ourselves. And that includes light-skinned women, Black men. So if you got a platform for Black women and those two groups ain't mad at you, you ain't doing it right. At least not you're not doing anything beneficial for dark-skinned women. And y'all know us INTJs are some of the biggest villains. So I actually enjoy making people mad with my platform. I enjoy pissing people off by being a dark-skinned woman who's actually prioritizing myself and my image. Part of me really, really gets a deep satisfaction out of that. And you know what? If me prioritizing myself makes me a hater, then so be it. None of these people's perception of me online affects me in my everyday life, and that's all that matters. And that's another place that I want dark-skinned women to get to. Stop internalizing the colorist insults. Stop letting these colorist people influence you to try to perform for them and not look like a hater for them. You look pathetic. And I've said before that if you are a dark-skinned woman who is still trying to prove that you're not insecure, or you're not a hater to colorist people, then you're not actually confident or secure at all. But anyway, this video is super long. I am done with this topic for now. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Also, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.